Leo. Welcome to your Capricorn season reading for January 2025. All information to work with me one-on-one is below. My website, payment options, schedule link, social medias, TikTok, and Instagram, Venusian Wave. You can find me there. Mars is going to be, so a little bit on the metaphysics I'm going to talk about a little bit before we enter. Capricorn season is about the skeletal system. The new moon video has come out as well for your intuitive tarot card, shuffle, and the knees. So your flexibility, your ability to understand where your stubbornness comes from, if it's helpful, if it's harmful. This is also Mars heavy month. For a while we're going to continue to talk about it as long as it comes up. There it is. This is a very personal time, as always, for everyone. Like, that's normal, right? But it's emphasis on the personal because there's a lot of foreshadowing happening with especially what Mars brings to a head. It's not necessarily everything that's being communicated with everything, but what comes to a head. We're going to take out the Emperor as well. And I say that because Emperor is Aries. Aries is Mars ruled. Aries rules the head. Mars rules what the skeletal system supports, which is the muscles. Now we get more in depth into any of those cards that come out and the body parts that come out in the second part, which I forgot to mention is in the first link below. You can get the first part, this part here on Patreon as well if you'd like to subscribe, and look forward for other things to arrive over there on the Patreon. Again, it's Venusian Waves, first link below. So there's a lot of, I want to say not just harshness, but there's just a definitive, there's both a defining character trait for you right now happening. As well as, and what I mean by that is not necessarily that it's in full bloom, but you're developing this character trait even more so that is very, not only headstrong, but this is about realizing that your relationship with yourself is extremely, more than most people, especially right now, is extremely important to how you're relating to others, how you're communicating with others. You may not be in a place you may feel like fucking around with some people, but you may not be in the most, joyful spirit around this time. You're clearing up a lot. For those of you, it's clearing up a lot with your ego, getting very connected to what you think, how you feel. Taking charge maybe in work for some of you as well. But mostly how you think and how you express how you think and how you feel. Not just, and Leo, this isn't just about your speaking, it's about your presence. This is a lot about your presence and how you show up and how that connects. Also, Chiron is, I thought this was the string card, it's not. Chiron is going direct at the end of the month in Aries as well. So this could be also a time where you're starting to feel that shift already. And that's in your, for some of you, that's in your Leo rising 9th house. So whatever was shaped when you were younger and how that's affected you now and what's come up from that time to be resurfaced in order to face head on, to understand that this is a way of being. She's in her garden, unbothered, surrounded by all of her abundance that she's created. Very independent. This is a very independent time for you. You may notice that the more that you take control internally, whether you approach things externally, it will be felt and things will start to shift. This is where you start to notice, even just on an intuitive level. You may start to shift to very much go shift inside first. You may start with yourself more than ever right now. It may feel like you've done this before, but you're realizing that if this is where you're at or where you're going, this with this independence, this much abundance, and going places that you're valued and that you value, you may be open to new places, you may be open to new opportunities. But if you're that bitch right now, how do you want to act? Like, if you're that person right now, how do you show up? What do you care to chime in on? What don't you care to chime in on? It's about you making a decision and declaring. There's just so much of declaring is the word for you, of where you stand and how you stand, both connected and separate. There are some things that you also will finally need to say, and when you're ready to say them, they will carry weight. It may be very much a teachable moment for how you see yourself now developing and how others receive from you, receive your words, receive your connection. It's a time where you feel more in touch with this side of you that is and growing more emotionally intelligent through these transits, because they are sharp. They are sharp right now. And they're your identity. First house, also them. They're your identity. It's how you show up. It's how you're revealed. There may be a lot of eyes on you at times, and you're noticing it more and more. And it's not up to, if you're very clear with where you're at, there will be no confusion to the outside world. What you have to speak and what you have to offer to others is of importance. This also may be giving yourself the true recognition that you need at this time, saying words to yourself, whether it's in first person or third person, doing these things, sorry about that, saying things to yourself in a way, I just need more room for the cards, where you feel extremely capable, very strong. You have an opportunity to really balance both the feminine and masculine sides of yourself. So if you think of the Emperor in the head, it's both hemispheres of the brain as well. Balancing this emotional side of yourself that also literally affects how stable your money is. You may be coming into a great time of stability with that. It may not feel like it, for some of you, it may not feel like it right now, but if you take a second to take a check in, you start to see a lot of opportunities show up. You may have a story to tell and a lot to say about how far you've come and what you've had to endure. And because you stand more in this worthiness and you can feel your own maturity and your own growth, especially in the ways in which you think you can see your way of life shaping in all of the choices that you make. It's really important that you not try to hide this month, that even if there can be some exposure, it's Leo, it's always about the way you handle it. It's always about the way you go about it, always about the way you navigate the situation, staying grounded in yourself. Especially this also, because of the way I'm even talking and noticing, this is, for some of you, this may be a hard conversation that you need to have. And you just don't know how it's going to be received. if you need to practice it, it's really important to practice it at this time, or even talking it out loud to yourself so you get really clear. It may not be the exact words you end up saying, but it will help you navigate how to digest what's happening. Because for some of you may come into really good news after a time. Maybe you're not used to it yet, because there's so much goodness here and strength out on the table, and so much to your own identity and clarifying how you feel about things, what your mind is capable of, right? You may feel more capable and in connection with your future than you felt in a really long time. And it's because you're finally digesting some things and perhaps coming up with a really grand idea, or writing or education. Virgo, mercurial things, maybe you're wanting to learn more, maybe about the body, you're getting in your body more. Maybe you're letting go of some guilt. Whatever that may be, it's really important to focus on what grounds you, what slows you down. Because this feeling in this extreme, maybe for some of you it's overcoming codependency or healing codependency as well. And while you're in this place, it feels maybe very grand. It feels bigger. And not that Leo doesn't know big, but if people don't know you, they don't know what you've been going through internally for the past few years, unless you're really unless they know you, pretty much, unless they're in your circle. And what's happening now is that you have the security, especially if you're feeling extremely secure financially, emotionally. Those go hand in hand. Like I said before, you may be having that hard conversation or something, doing something very uncomfortable where you really need to be heard. And it helps you, again, not only see yourself and recognize yourself in a different way, but it helps you integrate and realize that you're capable of whatever it is that you're choosing to do next or choosing to do now. That in order to get clear with yourself, maybe you're in a place where you're ready to receive inspiration, and you're really clearing things up or focusing on your health and work. You're just really focused right now. And when you're in a place like that and you feel really good about what you're doing, you're connecting and you feel good and you're valued and you have your shit together, that's when you want to lean in. That's when you want to utilize your luck. That's when you want to come up with a great idea that feels really good right now and that you can maybe hold for a time where you can actually get to it. And then maybe you write it down, or all of a sudden you're able to actually manifest that. The thing about you is that when you're in motion and you're clear and you have nothing holding you back, right? And you're letting go of some emotion, you're not over-identifying with your ego, you're very much in a flow space. The things that you're creating can just come run right after another, that you don't get burnt out. It's just it constantly recharges you when you're in a place of clarity and in a clean vessel. You're clearing your vessel. You're connected spiritually with yourself as well. Because for some of you, this is also about going off on your own, and you have a message to say. If you're wanting to do something on the side, or you're wanting to take yourself out of a company, you want to do something independent of whatever you've been a part of for a while, it's a great time to do that. It's a great time. Ooh, we have 2 cards. Just want to round this off with your yearly, I'm doing a general yearly pull at the end of each of the personal monthly readings. So this month is this month can be very prosperous for you. As long as you face things head on, as long as you stay grounded, just repeating everything that I basically just said. And you focus on your health and how your health connects to what goes on in your mind and what you who and what you associate with and what you choose to. And then how you choose to clear that out through your emotions and your actions. This year is about being inspired and letting yourself surprise yourself with flows of words. Again, writing this, the swords keep coming up, so I'm going to suggest air sign things. Maybe it's starting something new where you're able to talk, where you're able to create things, where you're able to have a lot of freedom with your mind and your words. And in a space where you can even create something where you're able to see the progression. So make sure you document it this year. You're going to want, like, that's what we're talking about here. And being self-focused in a way that is actually detaching, but becoming a healthy connections and creating more healthy connections in your life. If you haven't felt that way in the past few years, you're doing like a reset and like a really in a reflection, reset and reflection. And this year is about knowing that what needs to come to you and what will make it to you, or what needs to come to you will make it to you in a very quick way, as long as you are patiently awaiting it. Because patience isn't waiting, but as long as you're patient for that idea, for that inspiration. It's right now is very much a time where you're able to rest and lounge and relax and restore if you let yourself, if you let your mind, because whatever's making its way to you is going to make its way to you, and you'll want to move on it quickly knowing you, because then it will fester. But it's really transforming your idea of fulfillment and how you communicate that in your life and in the world and in your work and with your health, and how your words and how your mind affects your health. So just know that that is your general reading for the year, and just be very careful with your relationships. And also, for those of you who might have to take some accountability this month and you're that person that's being talked to, even if you don't remember, necessarily agree, that person just needs to be heard. That's all. It's not about you and your ego. And the more that you understand that, the more that you become just a magnet for good energy. Okay? We'll get more into the second part. That will be in the link below. Info to work with me is below. Yeah, take care of your mind. And we'll see you next month. Bye, Leo.